Hello and welcome back to Microbial Concepts. Today's topic is microbial pigments. Okay, so actually there are two videos on this topic. I will be uploading those. So this is the first, and another video is regarding the practical of pigment isolation and VIVA questions. Okay, so in this video we will be covering the concept, then some examples, their applications, right? And in another video that is regarding the practical, we will be covering the main example, what is the pigment that we are going to focus, that is proteaceous, and we will be studying that and some viva questions related to that pigment. Okay, so let's start with this video. Okay, so first is, what do you mean by microbial pigments? Okay, so the natural pigments extracted from microorganisms are termed as microbial pigments. Okay, so pigment is nothing but a color or colored matter, right? That is produced by, say, some plants and some microbes, some fungi, right? So these are various examples which we know or which we study or which had been studied for natural pigments. So today we are going to focus on microbial pigments. Okay, so the pigments are considered as secondary metabolites and they are not produced by each and every microbe, right? So a number of different kinds of pigments are produced by microbes and they are studied for their potentialities. Okay, why nowadays demand for natural pigments like microbial pigments is growing? That is because of their potentialities. Okay, so they have very good characteristics, some very good properties, and they are having very good applications in, say, food industry, cosmetics, or textile. Okay, so in these industries, these microbial pigments, they add value to their product and thus they give a good market value for that particular product. Okay, so that is why the demand for these microbial pigments is increasing. And another point is that the synthetic pigments that were in used or that were used, those have some side effects, some harmful effects for environment and as well as humans. So those are nowadays less in use as compared to that of these natural pigments. Okay, so these microbial pigments, they are biodegradable, they are non-toxic, they are non-carcinogenic. Okay, and some textiles or cosmetic or food industries, they are now producing their pigments and then they are using those on their commercial scale. Okay, so these natural colorants, they help increase the market value of product, as I discussed. So pigments, they have properties like anti-cancer, anti-leishmanial, antimicrobial, antioxidant, etc. Okay, so natural pigments or colorants are leading the market demand over the passage of time. So these natural colorants and pigments are derived from many different sources as insects, ores, microbes, and plants. Among these sources, microbes and bacteria in particular, they have the capacity to synthesize a wide range of pigment, and the bacterial pigments are mostly preferred because of simple culturing and pigment extraction techniques, then scaling up and being time economical. Okay, so these are some good points, good benefits, we can say, or advantages of using microbial pigments. So let's study some examples, some properties and applications, right? So this is a basic flowchart where you can see even pigments, they have taxonomic significance, right? So they help in identification and classification of bacteria. For example, xanthomonas. Okay, the genus of xanthomonas, they are known to produce the pigment which helps in the identification. Then next is functions. So the pigments, they have resistance to phagocytosis, then protection against ultraviolet radiations, antimicrobial activities, then they have heavy metal resistance, anti-tumor properties, etc. And even they have industrial applications like in paint formulations, in food industries, in textile, in therapeutics, then cosmetics, etc. Okay, so yeah, so we will start with examples now. So the first is rhodotorula. It is a yeast and it produces torula rotein pigment, and it is orange, red or yellow in color, and it has anti-cancer properties. Okay, so yeast rhodotorula is found in air, soil, lake, ocean waters, milk and fruit juices, right? So these species, they produce pink to red colonies, and rhodotorula produce blastoconidia. They are unicellular, they lack pseudopodia, hyphae, and rhodotorula can grow on different carbon sources, which are glucose, sucrose, xylose, succinate, glycerol, mannitol, lactose, starch, and etc. Okay, so this is the general information regarding the genus. Then next is Serratia marcescens. The pigment is produced, that is red in color, known as prodigiosin. It has anti-cancer properties, antibacterial, anticocoidal, antimalarial, antifungal, etc. Okay, so this is the pigment that is widely, or this is the example that is widely used in practicals in college days for pigment extraction, that is Serratia marcescens, and the pigment is prodigiosin. So in second video that I was talking, in that I will be discussing this particular example. Okay, so for time being, just remember that Serratia marcescens is a motile gram-negative bacteria and which is known for the production of prodigiosin. Okay, there are other examples also, but Serratia marcescens is widely used and widely studied. The production of prodigiosin has been observed to be affected by several environmental factors like inorganic phosphate availability, media composition, temperature, and pH. Next is Phaphia rhodosima. It produces red pigment that is named as astaxanthin, and it has antioxidant properties. Okay, so it is again an example of yeast which is able to produce pigment, and there are other examples which produce the same pigment, and those are Hematococcus and some crustaceans, right? Then astaxanthin is naturally occurring carotenoid, and the fermentation of Phaphia is a major method for producing astaxanthin, an important pigment in industrial and pharmaceutical applications. Okay, so we will be studying this in applications part. Next is Monascus purpurei. It produces some 6 pigments. Okay, the genus Monascus is known for producing these 6 pigments. They range from say red, orange to yellow in color, right? So they have anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory properties. The pigment is monascorubramin and rubroputatin. Sorry, it was a little bit difficult to pronounce, but okay. Then Monascus purpurei is a species of mold. So this is an example of fungus that is purplish red in color. Okay, so the 6 major pigments which are produced are yellow, that is the pigment is monacin, then ancaflavin. The orange one is monascorubrin and rubroputatin. Then red one, the pigment is named as monascorubramin and rubroputamin. Then the method for the production of pigment is solid state fermentation using rice. Okay, so for Monascus purpurei, this is the flow chart for the production of pigment I found. Okay, so first you inoculate the uh, inoculum of Monascus purpurei to a sterile medium which contains maltose, glucose extract, glucose yeast extract, then K2HPO4, MgSO4 and CaCl2. Okay, so after inoculation, you incubate and you harvest the colored mycelium. Okay, then you dry the mycelia, then you grind it, and extraction is done by solvent method, that is liquid extraction using methanol. You shake that uh, solvent, and after filtration you get the pigment, then you dry that pigment and you can use your pigment for packaging or for any other further purposes. So these are some extra examples that I would like to mention here. So you can see these are bacteria like Bacillus, Staphylococcus, Flavobacterium, Pseudomonas, Chromobacter, Corynebacteria, right? and the pigments are, say, carotenoid, zeaxanthin, phycocyanin, volacin, then indigoidine, right? So they also have a wide range of properties like antibacterial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antiviral, antiprotozoal, etc. So you can see variety of microbes, they produce different kinds of pigments and they have very good properties that can be used. Okay, so there is a advantage, there are many advantages, and there is this disadvantage, that is the stability of microbial pigments. Okay, so microbial pigments are sensitive to heat, pH, light, air and water activity, and therefore making them largely unstable and degradable, which is the major disadvantage. Okay, so it is seen that the pH, it plays a major role in pigment production, but the slight change in pH will lead to variation in shades of the color or the pigment. Okay, so this is why it is said that the microbial pigments are not that stable, because they are sensitive to heat, temperature, pH, light and etc. Okay, so thus some molecular modifications which increase the solubility of microbial pigments and stability are required to be studied. Okay, so now we will be starting for the applications of these microbial pigments. Okay, so first is dairy industry. So Monasca species are known to produce non-toxic pigments which can be used as food colorants, flavor enhancer and as a food preservatives. Okay, so the example here is Monascus rubra. It is used for preparation of flavored milk by utilizing rice carbohydrate for its metabolism and produce pigments as secondary metabolite. A red pigment called arpic is produced by Penicillium oxalicum, and it is used in milk products and ice cream industries. The next is pharmaceutical industry. So here the pigments, they have potential for treating various diseases. We know that. So they have many properties like antibiotic, anti-cancer, immunosuppressive properties, etc. So biopigments are used to produce medically important products. Okay, so the example is adonirubin and astaxanthin are the xanthophylls, which also act as nutraceuticals. Okay, so these xanthophylls, by the process of antioxidation or anti-free radicals or other mechanism, they help to prevent carcinogenesis. Okay, the nutraceuticals functions of these xanthophylls and carotenes also help to prevent problems like heart attack and strokes. The red pigment astaxanthin is important carotenoid which has great commercial values and is also used as pharmaceutical feeds. Then next is Monascus purpurei, the pigment that it produced. It helps in inhibition of hepatitis virus replication by interfering with the viral RNA polymerase activity. Okay, so that is why it we say that it has a antiviral application. A strong therapeutic molecule, that is proteoglycans, are known for their immune suppressive anti-cancer properties. Okay, then Hella chagensis produces a pigment which is known to have immunosuppressant and anti-tumor properties. Okay, so these are some examples that are used in pharmaceutical industries. Next is about textile industry. So synthetic dyes, they have many drawbacks like toxicity, mutagenicity, carcinogenicity properties, leading to various health problems like skin cancer and allergies. Hence, consumers demand for dyes of natural origin as colorants. Okay, so in textile, proteoglycine can be used as a dye for many fibers, say silk, acrylic, nylon, wood, and for dyeing other fibers. So the pigments isolated from Serratia marcescens have the capability to color 5 different types of fabrics, which include cotton, silk, polyester microfibers also. Okay, then violacine, which is a violet pigment, is used to dye rayon, pure rayon and silk. Okay, jacquard, rayon and pure rayon. Okay, so these are some examples for textile industries. Now we will be studying the nutritional supplements. So beta carotene is a precursor of vitamin E. So carotenoid can be used as vitamin supplements. Rice is the main food in underdeveloped countries, so there is possibility of deficiency of vitamin A, which causes night blindness and in serious cases of xerophthalmia. So another example of food grade biocolorant is riboflavin, which is also a source of vitamin, and it is available in milk, several leafy vegetables, meat and fish. Yellow beta-xanthines are used as biocolorants and can be used as biocolorants for introducing essential dietary amino acids into foodstuffs. Okay, so phycocyanin by cyanobacteria is used as dietary supplement to rice in proteins. Okay, so these are for nutritional supplements. Next is printing industries. Okay, so to conserve the forest resource and reduction of waste, it's important to reuse and recycle the papers in office, etc. The reuse of papers is important, but it's also important to disappear the prints of paper. So decolorable ink contains molasses pigment used for inkjet printing. These pigments from molasses, when exposed to irradiation of visible or ultraviolet light, they get decolored. Okay, so this is also a very good example and application of pigments. Next is food colorants. So an important goal of food industry is to produce food with an attractive appearance. So food producers are opting for natural food colors as artificial ones show many negative impacts on health. So example is riboflavin, which is produced by Bacillus cereus, is used in vitamin rich milk products and energy drinks. Penicillium oxalicum is a fungus which produces a red color used in cosmetics and food industries. These colors are useful in different products like baby foods, breakfast cereals, pasta, sauces, then processed cheese, fruit drinks, vitamin enriched milk products, and some energy drinks, and so on. Therefore, natural colors are environment friendly and moreover serves as the dual need for visually attractive colors and health benefits in food colorants of probiotics. Therefore, pigments from natural, that is microbial source, are good alternatives. The the addition of natural or microbial colors in food products can help to overcome the growing public concern over the adverse effects. So these were some applications. So thank you for watching. Do like my videos, share these videos with your friends, and do subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to watch the second part regarding pigments, that is pigment isolation and VIVA questions regarding the practical. Thank you.